goddamn, I need IPA.
This is Beering Ain't Easy, your podcast for beer humor, dad humor, and beer tastings from Texas and beyond. So crack one if you got one and turn it up.
Welcome to Beering Ain't Easy, Season 2, Episode 32, with Ryan and Drew.
And Adam. I'm back, bitches.
He is back, ladies and gentlemen. Adam is here representing the Austin Drip. How are you doing, Adam?
Great. Glad to be back.
So what are you doing gracing us with your presence today?
I am going to enlighten you on the Austin beer scene.
You got this all figured out for us, or is this a work in progress?
It's a work in progress. It's a journey.
I imagine there's a lot to figure out.
There is.
So this all started 3 or 4 weeks ago. Went up, my family visited Austin and Adam's family. And I got to say, Adam took us on an A-plus beer adventure while we were there. We weren't in the Austin proper. We were in Dripping Springs, which, hence the Austin Drip. But it was quite a good time.
It was quite the beer extravaganza.
What were some of the places you guys hit?
So we started at Family Business Beer Company.
Funny you should mention that, because that's actually the first beer we're drinking today, Adam. We're drinking the Family Business Beer Company Hamilton Pale Ale, bright and tropical with a clean finish.
Cheers. Looking forward to diving in.
So Ryan, have you been to Dripping Springs before?
So I went through Dripping Springs on my way to a bachelor party where they rented a house in Bee Cave. Also, actually, I've been to Jester King before, early on in my craft beer adventures. But this was last summer. I went through Dripping Springs and went to Ghost Note. So that's the only place I've been to over there, really.
Nice.
Ghost Note was on the extravaganza route.
Oh, yeah. Let's get back to this. So you went to Family Business and you went to Ghost Note.
Okay.
Where else did you go?
So then we went to Twisted X, and then we ended at my hometown brewery, Vista Brewery, which is awesome. To be honest, I thought almost all of those places are awesome.
Awesome. Okay. Well, speaking of Vista, I see that's another one on our little tasting platter here today. I guess, do we want to just go through the beers we're drinking real quick? We already mentioned the Family Business Pale Ale, but what else we got here?
It would only be appropriate that I introduce the Vista beer. So Vista Brewing Dark Skies is a black Pilsner. It's one of their award-winning beers, and it's fantastic.
I think I may have had a variant of this while we were there, but it's a little hard to tell because that was the last one on our brewery tour. So I'm looking forward to a fresh start.
So what happens at brewery number 4 stays at brewery number 4.
So I've had St. Arnold Santo, which is a black Kolsch. I don't know if I've ever actually had a black Pils, so I'm very much looking forward to that one. Drew, what's the last one we got here?
So we're rounding it out with kind of an Austin favorite, not one that Adam and I drank while we were out there, but this is from Pinthouse, and it is Electric Jellyfish. So I know this is one that I see people talk about as one of their favorites in the Austin area. So I've never had it before, so I'm looking forward to it.
I have had it, but I won't spill the beans for everyone. Have you had this before, Ryan?
I have not. Although, as you guys were talking, I was just looking it up. It's got a 94 on Beer Advocate. So, excited about this one. I have heard about it, but never had a chance to try it. So I think we decided beforehand that we're gonna close it out with that one. That one's gonna be our anchor.
So, Drew, I think we need to dive into our beer extravaganza.
Sure.
What was your takeaways? What'd you think? Let's start with Family Business.
I got to say, Family Business, probably coming out of that one, I felt like it's one of my favorite brewery experiences I've had with kids. It was probably, I mean, you see a name like Family Beer and you're like, okay, it's going to be kid friendly, but that place was great. And I mean, Dripping Springs in general is just a beautiful area. Lots of big open spaces outside. The beer was good. They had a fenced in playground. They had a food truck. My daughter can't eat gluten, and they had a like gluten-free pizza at a food truck only in Austin, right? But like, it was overall, like I just came out of it like a huge fan. And so I definitely want to go back.
I would say it's in my top 5 brewery venues I've ever been to. Like family friendly.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the places in Houston that are kid friendly, like say have playgrounds, but they're not necessarily fenced in. So a kid can still, if you're not paying attention, can wander off around the corner or something. So the fenced in part, that's pretty cool. I don't know if I've seen that anywhere else.
Yeah, it's also like a pretty cool, like it's out like in like kind of like the hill country where like it's on like a big acreage. It has like pretty like badass setup. And then the playground is kind of just like a cherry on top.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I always think of Austin as like having really high property values. And so I like when you see a big open space, I'm like, what the heck? But I guess because you're a little further out in Dripping Springs, you can afford to spread out a little bit. But it's almost like a destination. Some of these breweries, even Ghost Note was like that, where you go there and it feels like you're going to a winery like in Napa or Sonoma, where you just have a lot of room to spread out. They do live music and venues. So it's a lot different vibe and feel than you get than the Houston area.
So that's been like one thing that's been fascinating about coming to Austin is like I expected like very much like a city feel, like even like for the breweries. But like even the breweries that are in Austin, there's a lot of them that like have a ton of land. And so it's really interesting. It's awesome.
All right, y'all, before we get into this beer, like I'm dying to tell a story from last night. And it has to do with the nickname I gave myself on the screen here. So it's been a little bit of a stressful, stressful time in our household. So we needed a little getaway. So we took a little staycation with the family last night, and we booked a nice hotel at downtown Houston. And things were great. We were up on like the 21st floor, right in the middle of downtown, and just really relaxing, having a good time. And my wife was like, "Hey, it's time for our 2-year-old to go to bed. She needs some milk. I need you to go down to the restaurant and get some milk." And so, nice hotel. They have a nice restaurant down there. So I start popping down there and I walk into the restaurant, which at that point of night, it is a bar at that point, right? The restaurant's closed. It's just the bartender, lots of people there drinking. And so here I am, just like moseying up, like find that little gap in the bar, when you get the bartender's attention. He walks over, he puts a little, paper napkin in front of me. He's like, "Hey, sir, what do you want?" I was like, "I need a glass of milk." And so he's like, "What?" I was like, "I got a baby upstairs. I need a tall glass of milk." And by that time, like other people at the bar heard what I was ordering. And they were looking at me like I was crazy. And at that point in my life, I don't think I've ever felt more like a dad. That exact moment. And he went and filled it up, and I've like pulled out my wallet and I was about to pay him for it. And he's like, no, dog, no, it's good. And he like gave me the thumbs up, and he had this look in his eyes like, this sorry sack of shit. I feel so bad for this guy. And he had this look in his eyes like it was a pity pour.
Yeah, it's like I can't take this pathetic bastard's money.
That would have been great. But I could see he was making eye contact with other people at the bar. He's like, "Can you believe this guy?" That was great.
Did he ask if you wanted it on the rocks?
But like walking away, like I just kept thinking, I was like, this young guy, he's thinking that he's never going to be here, that he's never going to stoop this low. Little does he know what's coming in his life.
You have better dad energy than I do.
Because you still have dignity.
Like before I would have gone into a bar to ask for milk, I would have like walked 2 blocks down the street to like a CVS to buy some milk before I would have done that. So, props to you, sir.
That's the difference between one child and 3 kids.
That's true. Yeah,
that's like first child behavior.
0 fucks given.
First child bad behavior. But once you're on number 3, you're like, fuck this. I don't got time or energy to go to the store.
Can I get a White Russian, but like milk only, like just the milk?
Yeah, I would have like ordered a White Russian on top of it, but like I need this glass of milk to top off my White Russian.
Like, what would have been even more epic is if I didn't say I had a baby and then I just took the milk, pulled the top off it, and just downed it right at the bar. It's just like.
So it wasn't like out of like a 2-gallon jug, and he like poured you a glass. That's what I was envisioning.
Oh no, it was definitely pouring from like a milk carton, but he poured it into like a plastic cup with a lid on it so that I could take it to go up to the.
You should have fucking chugged it right in front of everyone. Give me another.
Boom. I've been holding that one in all day today. That's like this has been.
I would have sat at the bar, fucking drinking one glass after another.
Oh my god! Karl Malone's the mailman. This man right here is the milkman.
You trying to coin your own nickname here?
The milkman is back.
What do y'all think about this beer that we're drinking from Family Business?
I mean, we're 1 for 1 so far. It says the descriptor on the bottom of the can is bright and tropical with a clean finish, and I think that just like sums it up. Like, it's very on point. I think that's extremely accurate. I'm loving this beer, and I'm hoping they all hold up to this level of quality.
It's a very refreshing beer. I think like the finish is great, but I could drink this is like a summertime beer that you could just drink at the pool too. It's good. I love their slogan, by the way, the around beer your family. It's a little cheesy, but I'm into it.
What could be better? Yeah, this is a really good beer.
Yeah.
I haven't been on much of a pale ale kick lately, but this is really hitting the spot for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially since you've been doing some hard manual labor today, right? I mean, this is exactly what you're looking for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, are you still going through that moving in phase of all these projects and trying to prioritize what's what?
I have taken on the largest project of my life. So we're putting in this recessed fire pit in our backyard. So like our backyard, it's obviously in Austin, it's like way hillier than it is in Houston. And so our backyard like has a pretty good like slope to it. So we wanted to put a fire pit in our backyard, and we were just going to like put like pavers down and like do like a normal like patio fire pit type setup. But like the back end of it would have had like a 3 or 4 foot drop off. So instead like we recessed it. And so it all like slopes down. And so like the back end of it's not, but like the front end is recessed. And it has been an astronomical amount of work.
One of my favorite comedians just came out with a comedy special a couple days ago, Nate Bargatze, and he's got a joke in his special about how they make digging holes look so easy in movies and stuff, and then when you try to dig a hole, you realize it's impossible. I imagine you learned this the hard way.
Yeah, so I have been using my negotiating skills in the neighborhood. So like as I see, because it's a new construction neighborhood, so like they were excavating the house next door to me, and I like went over and like gave the guys like a bunch of cash to do a bunch of excavating for me.
Oh, there we go.
And there's been many aspects to this project like that.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, but it has been fucking hard work.
I mean, I could keep going on this beer all the way through, but do we want to go ahead and move on to the next one?
Yeah. I'm kind of disappointed Adam hasn't really come in hot with any stories yet. So let's get a little beer into him, and then the good stuff will come out.
Okay, so I'm ready. I'm ready for a beer story.
All right. So we're gonna crack this black Pilsner while you give us the beer story.
Okay, crack it open. Okay, so I took a new job and I'm like building my staff, and so I have this engineer who works at one of our plants in California. He was in town today. Like I've offered him a job, so it was kind of like a recruiting trip, like where he was going to check things out. And so we were supposed to have dinner tonight, and it was the craziest thing. So like maybe about a half hour before I was getting ready to leave to go to dinner, he texts me and he's like, "Hey man, I'm having a ton of fun in Austin. I've been day drinking pretty hard. I'm not going to be able to drive, and so I'm not going to be able to make it to dinner."
and he's coming in. He already works for your company, or you were interviewing him?
No, he already works for.
Oh, okay. Because that would have been awkward.
So, does this make you want to hire him more or less?
I thought it was a bold move. And, it made me feel really old because this is like a young person, like a year out of school or something like that. And it's just like, I just was like thinking like the generational differences. It was like, I could never imagine myself like in that situation doing that. But I feel like new college grads are like so much different than like how we were at that stage.
I mean, you think about like when you started your career and like your boss was maybe Gen X, maybe baby boomer, hard to say, but could you imagine like telling that to your first boss that you were like day drinking and you weren't going to make it into a corporate dinner?
No.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. But I will say props to him for like coming clean about that and not like trying to drive out to have dinner. Like,
yeah,
good for him for at least being responsible.
Yeah, and blaming it on COVID.
Yeah, I mean, I've done stuff like that. I just have been like, I'm sick. Yeah. I'm not going to be able to make it.
Yeah, you do the responsible thing and you lie about it, right?
Yeah.
I tell you what, Ryan, I think we're 2 for 2 on these Dripping Strings beers. This is delicious.
Yeah, I'm pretty blown away. I guess it makes sense with being like a Pils and how clean it is when you bring in some like roasted malts, that roastiness is just going to be like in your face and like very forward and pronounced. And that's exactly what's going on here. And if I wouldn't have looked at the can and read it earlier, I would have sworn there was coffee in this. But it's pretty damn delicious, honestly.
This can like mentions like hints of marshmallow on it. And I would have never thought to think about that flavor in this beer, but I kind of get it a little bit like just like toasty marshmallow, just a little bit. It's good.
I love this beer.
Dang it. Yeah. When you plant a seed like that and have a sip again, it's like, yeah, I can see that for sure. See what you think about this. If you think about like the taste of pecans, have a sip and see if you get any pecan when you taste this.
Oh. Nope, no pecans at all. I'm just messing.
No pecans for me.
Well, cut that then.
Nope, it's staying in.
I swear I get pecan out of this. I stand by it.
So Vista Brewing is about 13 minutes from my house. And they're in my top 5 all-time beer venues as well. It's also like out like in the hilly part of Texas. It's on like this huge acreage where they have like all these like massive oak trees. And they have like 3 or 4 different like pretty big hangouts at the brewery. And like in the back, they have pretty cool playground area for the kids as well.
Yeah, one thing that was kind of interesting about these Dripping Springs breweries to me was that like I always think of breweries as going a little later night in Houston, but like everything seemed to shut down pretty early and they were really focused around being like day venues. So by the time we got to Vista, it wasn't that late at night, but they were shutting down. I want to say it was like 8:30 or 9 at night. And there wasn't a lot of lighting outside. So I didn't get the full experience of the venue. I remember like looking on the inside, which was a nice big open, like food hall looking inside. But I think what makes all these breweries in Dripping Springs so cool is like the big outdoor areas. And, by that time it was pretty dark. So I'd like to go back and see it in the light of day.
Dripping Springs is definitely a day drinking place. And so I can understand why the guy was day drinking too hard, because it's really a cool day drinking area. Sometimes it just gets the best of you.
I keep coming back to like the comparison of that area to like wineries, because that's what wineries are. They don't stay open late. They close down early. It's a destination that has a lot of space. And so but you could go on a tour and hit like 4 of them in a day. And I feel like that's the closest thing to like wine country feel that I had in a brewery setting, I'll just say.
It sounds like you've hit the jackpot with where you're located so far, if both these places are close to your house.
It may have been a factor in where we chose to live.
Speaking about being a factor, so Ryan and I, we have this family trip that we take on Labor Day. We've taken it the last 5+ years, where our wives' sides of the family all gets together, and we had 3 locations in the entire state of Texas narrowed down for where we were going to go, and we had this whole like spreadsheet voting exercise that Ryan set up, obviously because he's the spreadsheet guy, and there may have been some influence there to drive us to pick Dripping Springs out of the entire state of Texas. So, and over Labor Day, we'll be staying about, 7 minutes from family business and, 10 minutes or 12 minutes from Jester King. So we're coming back.
Yeah.
Count me in.
Yeah. Well,
invited or not, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, told you.
What a coincidence. You're showing up at Jester King and you're going to family business next? Weird. Yeah, I'm because usually this trip that Drew's talking about, it's almost, I think it's always been a beach trip. Yeah. I don't think we've ever done not a beach trip. So pretty excited, not just to change it up, but to change it up in the way that we're doing it.
It came with a little bit of drama, though. There's a little bit of drama when it comes to picking family locations. So there may have been some poll influencers.
We had to stop the steal.
Yeah.
Salt water under the bridge.
All right. So between these first 2, what do you guys think? What's your favorite? What comes in second? I know we like both of them, but
I don't know if I can.
They're not very similar beers, so it's right. kind of a tough call between the 2. I feel like it depends on what mood you're in.
They're both really good.
Dude, I'm loving the pale ale, but the fact that the Black Pils is so like kind of unique and just hits that roastiness that I love so much in darker beers, I'm going to give the edge to that Black Pils.
I think that's a fair call.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, I was all about that pale ale, and then this one came in, and so I don't think you lose with either of these 2 beers, though. I think the only natural progression is to see if we can go 3 for 3 today, because it's very rare that we get 3 winners in a row. Electric Jellyfish.
Oh, son of a bitch. That one's good, too.
Yeah, this is a really good beer.
Yeah.
Dude, this one's like a tropical explosion. This one's amazing.
Well, I think the assessment of the beers in combination with the venues of each of these places brings to light the question of how does the Austin beer scene stack up next to the Houston beer scene?
Too soon to tell.
I mean, we're talking apples and oranges here, and by that I mean I don't really want to do a blind tasting of this because I'm nervous.
Yeah, I think I can already definitively say that Austin is going to be punching harder than Dallas was.
Yes. I can't wait to hear the feedback on that one.
Sorry, Wes.
So a couple years ago, Jody and I took like a couple's trip to Dripping Springs, and it was like the breweries were like so cool, and we were like pretty obsessed with it. And so like when an opportunity for us to like take this job in Austin came up, that was in the back of my mind.
Yeah, I can see that. Even just going to the ghost note that I was talking about. Yeah, like just driving through that area just to get there, I was just like, holy shit, like where am I? This is awesome. And then the place was cool, but also like a little bit of a humble brag here. I had a friend of a friend that knew the owner. And so he came and met up with me and gave me the full tour behind the scenes and stuff. Obviously, Ghost Note's an implication to music, and they do a bunch of live music, but every single one of their fermenters, and they have a couple of fooders and stuff, they're all named after Texas musicians. I think they're all from the Austin area too. So, yeah, like just really cool stuff going on out there.
Yeah, Ghost Note's a pretty badass brewery too. Like when Drew came, that was the first time I went there. But the venue is pretty awesome, and we both got flights there, and I thought they were real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was impressed too. Like, like when you think about beer styles, like there was a lot of like more traditional sours and like lambics and stuff that like you don't really see those being brewed in the Houston area. So there was some funkier beers out there, and I'm sign me up for Funky Town.
Yeah, I know True Anomaly wanted to be like a place known for their sours, and like they do like some sours and farmhouse hills and stuff, but I feel like they haven't really launched that kind of part of their program as much as they maybe intended. And I wonder if that's kind of an influence of the market they're in. Just not as much as the demand for that.
Back to this electric jellyfish. I don't know if it's because there's so many hazies in the Houston area that are like double hazies, and this being at 6.5% alcohol, it's a little more refreshing, a little lighter, a little fruitier. I mean, sometimes when I want a hazy, I want that like Spindletap hazy, but this is a really refreshing drink.
It tastes like really fresh hops. Like, yeah, if you told me that it was like wet hopped or something, I would like believe you.
I'm going to make a bold statement that this is my favorite out of the three.
That's a bold statement.
I like all three of them, but it's damn good.
It's tough. Yeah. What do you think, Adam?
It's damn good. But I think I stand by your original assessment that the Black Pills is like such a unique beer, and it's like so well done that I feel like there's a lot of hazies that you can get this is a good hazy, don't get me wrong, but you can get a lot of good hazies where like the Black Pills in there is so unique.
I like it.
I think you talked me into it, Adam. I was trying to decide. I looked up, I know I said it at the top that the Electric Jellyfish was a 94 on Beer Advocate. Dark Skies is an 86. But I think your talk about the kind of separating stuff from the pack relative to the other options in this category.
Yeah,
I'm with you. You can't really find another dark lager like this. I'm with you. Dark Skies. We outvoted you, Drew.
Yes.
This will not be allowed.
I think we need to note this down, put this in the podcast episode Hall of Fame. I think this is the first time Adam and I have outvoted Drew and made him the outsider.
Wait. Have you just joined the multi side?
I'm going to throw this out there that this may be our best lineup on the podcast.
I thought you were about to say this is our best episode ever.
No, it's not at all.
Best lineup ever, man.
I don't know about that, but it's pretty good.
I guess
Name one that beats it, bitches.
I mean, we just did an episode where our feature beer was Pliny the Elder.
Well, but that's not a lineup. That's a beer.
So it was the top 5 beers of 2010. Like literally the top 5 beers in the country of 2010.
What were they?
You got to go back and listen.
Now, Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, Dogfish Head 90 Minute, Arrogant Bastard, Bell's Two Hearted Ale, and Russian River Pliny the Elder.
Yeah.
It was a damn good lineup. I can't go all the way there with you, Adam, about this being the best lineup on the podcast, but I'd put it there top. It's on the Mount Rushmore. I'll say that.
Okay.
Ooh, there. I like it.
Well, it's not fair to compare it to like a lineup of all the best beers of all time.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Since when is this podcast about being fair? Come on.
It's about how I feel right now.
Right now.
So I think that begs, I mean, you mentioned the question about the Houston versus Austin thing. I think we have a little bit of a theme on the Beer and Easy podcast where we introduce a city or a location for beers. We highlight all the great things they have. But then when it comes down to it, then we got to go head to head with Houston because we are Houstonites at heart. Ryan and I are diehard believers that the Houston quality of beer is superior to many other cities. So I think it lines us up for a part 2 episode here where you do your research and you bring us the best of Austin and we put it up against the best of Houston.
Ooh.
I think the
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, the gauntlet's been thrown down.
Yeah.
If you can put up a lineup like this, this will be an interesting episode for sure.
It has to be blind.
There's no question.
That's the only way I'm willing to come into this battle.
I think that's fair. I mean, it's similar to Wes in the Dallas episode. You may have some deep Houston ties, but right now you're an outsider, Adam. So you're the enemy. Every man for himself. I'm a neutral party searching for the best beer out there. I'm originally from Iowa, so I really have no allegiance other than to Iowa.
You're just a well-traveled Renaissance beer man.
Yes.
Just in search of the best beer out there. I think what my goal is, kind of like with the 2010s episode, where my kind of hidden motivation was to make Drew drink Sierra Nevada Pale Ale and talk about it. I want to get a blind tasting situation of you drinking Austin Hazies against a Spindletap and make you choose.
That's not fair. That's not fair. You know my soft spot.
We keep talking about that Houston-Dallas showdown, but yeah, we had that Spindletap in that one, and everyone knew exactly which one it was as soon as they tasted it. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a tough one to put in a blind tasting because I think the three of us have mastered that flavor profile.
Yeah.
I told Drew I wanted to do an episode on like April Fool's Day or something. My boss went to Spindletap and got some beer to go, and he said they had 4 different sours on tap at the time, like kettle sours. So I told Drew I wanted to do a April Fool's Day episode and say it was the Spindletap blind tasting. And then when the podcast started, we were doing a blind tasting of sours instead of hazies. I thought that's
criminal to go to Spindletap and get anything other than a hazy.
I thought it'd be hilarious.
Ryan's got a lot of ideas for bits that sometimes they hit and sometimes they miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically Drew wants to keep this a legitimate podcast and I just want to like cheapen the product as much as I can.
Don't get me wrong.
Hey, it's gone down the shitter since I moved.
I'm just trying to lean into that, man.
All right. So I have a story I need to talk about. I need your guys' opinion on something.
Bring it.
So we're in the backyard today working on the fire pit. We had the music going. So this is like 1:00 on a Saturday afternoon. our neighbor in the backyard comes out and is like, "Hey, your music's too loud. Can you turn it off?" And it was just like, it was the station I was playing was Pandora, Today's Alternative. Nothing vulgar, no high bass, like
Wasn't even like reggaeton or anything like that.
nothing.
So let me just clarify. He didn't ask you to turn it down. He asked you to turn it off.
Turn it off. I just wanted to like turn around and drop my pants and say, just talk to my fucking ass.
That's wait. Let's unpack that for a minute. Like,
Yeah.
Like that wouldn't have been my first thought. I agree, it's a crazy situation, but there's a lot going on.
I felt the only appropriate response would be to like show him something he doesn't want to see, and that's like what came to my mind. But it's like I was thinking about it, and I was like, if at 1:00 Saturday afternoon, what would my neighbor have to do that would prompt me to go out there and like put it to a halt? And like, I don't know that there's anything that my neighbor could do on a Saturday at 1:00 in the afternoon that I would be like, you're crossing the line. Like, this is a line and it's been crossed.
I think the only natural solution is that you need to start a neighbor feud.
Yeah.
Post it on the neighborhood Facebook group.
Air it out on Facebook for sure. That's the answer.
Well, I've put it out on Facebook. I've asked everyone in the neighborhood. I've posted his picture, called him a fucking loser, and I didn't say anything to his face, of course.
So did you ask him like what music he'd rather listen to?
Well, I did, but he was talking to my ass, not me. So I really.
I can tell this has affected you because I see that you're like you've got a screwdriver that you're meticulously
this
like
is my
tugging
weapon.
on.
I'm preparing for battle, and so I wasn't expecting him to come onto the patio today, and so I'm in my office right now. I might be making too much ruckus, so I'm preparing.
You're going to shank him with the screwdriver.
Yeah, that is a very strange. Like, if he wanted like complete silence all the time, like, don't buy a house in a development. Like, buy some land and like be a hermit. Like, I don't know. That's weird. Super weird.
So I posed a question to you guys. What would your neighbor have to do on a Saturday at 1:00 that would prompt you to go and ask them to stop?
I think the only thing that I've ever felt pissed off about at that time of day would be somebody like having an event where people are parking and partially blocking your driveway. That's like the only thing that like gets me is like blocking your driveway. It's like, no, that's not cool. I may need to black out. Maybe I don't need to back out right now, but I may need to back out in 30 minutes. And that's the only thing that would trigger me.
Like a partial blockage?
It doesn't matter. It's the principle.
I don't think it matters. Yeah.
It's the principle of blocking your driveway.
The edges of the driveway is an imaginary line out into the street that, speaking of a line you don't cross. Those are the imaginary lines you do not cross. But as far as noises go, like, I cannot imagine what would prompt me to actually go say something to a neighbor.
He's not like directly behind us. He's like one lot over and then behind us. So like our lot sits higher, so I can like see in his backyard, and I tend to snoop on it and see what's going on. As obviously I should. He was in his house. He had the nerve to come out and confront us.
Do we have a new conspiracy theory in the works? When sound rolls downhill, does it get louder? Are we on something here? I'm not a physicist, but makes sense to me.
That could be a factor.
I do know that Adam's ass does roll downhill, though.
So I got to be honest here. As you've been telling your story, I keep reaching for sips, and I keep going to the electric jellyfish over the other options I have.
You can't change your answer.
I'm not changing my answer. I got to clarify because I stand by the uniqueness of the black pills. If I had to drink more than one, I probably would go to electric jellyfish. But just having one, I'm sticking with the Vista, with the dark pills. But I just do got to give props to the electric jellyfish. It is outstanding.
It's a great beer.
Give props where props are due.
Which I guess means that pushes the Hamilton Pale, the family business pale ale, to number 3 in my power rankings. But that kind of hurts because it is so good.
I think you guys are getting a little nervous about the head-to-head. That's my main takeaway right now.
You see me twitching over here?
Ryan's a little twitchy. But I think that's a great sum up, though, is that from an Austin beer standpoint, these were not handpicked, highly researched, with the exception of maybe electric jellyfish. But we hit some pretty hard hitters. And Adam and I had a pretty fantastic time in Dripping Springs. So I think, in summary, you can have a great time down there. And Adam, I think you're in a great beer capital. And it was great to have you back on today. I'm officially saying that the dads are back. So, Adam, before we close out the episode, anything you want to shout out to in the Austin beer scene?
Well, I think I would be shouted in my ass to my neighbor, so I don't know that I have anything else to say.
That's all you need to shout. So I guess that means you have deferred the closing to Ryan. Ryan, the time is now. What have you got for us?
Hey, if you've been out day drinking all day and you're listening to our episode, drinking the beers we're drinking, don't be afraid to text your future boss that you can't make it because you can't drive. That's my advice to you for today.
If you disagree with us, you can taste Adam's ass.
Talk to Adam's ass because the face don't care.
Pretty much.
This has been a Beering Ain't Easy production out of Houston, Texas. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook or at our website at crossthestreamsmedia.com, where you can find our podcast and all the other great sister podcasts on our network.
This has been a Cross the Streams Media Podcast.
The Austin Drip.
My ass gets very drippy.
Oh, Lord.
Adam saying his ass gets really drippy and Drew calling himself the Milkman. Are these two plots connected? You'll have to tune in next time to find out.
Yes.
Oh, God.